Hey now, welcome to the very first episode of Charge Talk. It's a brand new podcast we started. It's an affiliated project of Disrupting. We saw an incredible opportunity to start a whole new dialogue around precious metals, lithium, just basically everything that will enable the electrification of the future. So we hope you enjoy the podcast. Tweet us your questions, follow us at Charge Talk, and enjoy. All right, welcome to another episode of the Disrupting Podcast. Today it's just myself, Donovick, but I am incredibly privileged to be joined by Rob McCammon, who is just the EV material expert. This guy has done an incredible amount of due diligence. You've seen him on Twitter. Definitely follow him. But Rob, couldn't be more excited and grateful to have you here. We want to learn as much as we can. So while I am a Labrador Retriever today, just pour as much on us. And where do you want to start?
I'm going to start really why I got into this area. Because
Please.
If you're like me, you made it through chemistry in high school. You made it through chemistry in high school. Everything smelled like rotten eggs. And half the time, you really going, I don't know what they want in this spot here, and I'm not sure what the hell a mole is, right? And so I made it through high school. I made it through chemistry. But my wife last year she wanted a Tesla, so we got her a Tesla, got her a Model Y.
Yep.
I had been in electronics tech in the Navy. I wound up being on submarines, learning a lot on submarines about things I thought I'd learned in high school. But what winds up happening is over time I got really interested in this. Now, you've been in a lot of these groups online. It's a religious deal, whether you're a Tesla fan, whether you're a Lucid fan, whether you're a Fisker fan, whether you're a Ford fan. To be honest with you, I wanted to get to where I just didn't give a damn who won.
Yeah.
Why not get to a point where any of these win? That's fine. Well, when you start studying, so I kind of got to where I was going, well, do they share things? Well, the first company I came across was Modine, M-O-D. I bought Modine. They make the fans for the Teslas.
Yep.
So when you're charging it and you hear it coming in about 70%, you start hearing the fan running.
Yep.
It's very important to cool the batteries. One of the things the Nissan Leaf for the first two generations didn't have really was good cooling. So that's why their batteries were dying, right? So that wound up being pretty good. And I liked the fact that I could absolutely buy the stock and, using dollar cost average. Because, let's face it, if you can dollar cost average Amazon, you're doing really well, right? But most of us can't dollar cost average these huge stocks, and Tesla being one of them. And the ugly truth is that for the most part, beyond Tesla, maybe Toyota is one of the only companies out there in the car world that really goes really high. So everyone's looking for the next Tesla. Well, Tesla is an anomaly.
It is.
And so why not sit there and go ahead and accept that and say, well, how can I know the EVs are going to be big. Well, it doesn't take too long to realize that there's a lot of materials that are different.
That require an EV to go down the road.
Right.
Yep.
And the one we keep hitting is lithium. And so why lithium? So I broke out my handy periodic table. Now,
I think I've seen that since like 10th grade in high school.
Right.
Yep.
Me neither.
Your periodic table, I love it.
Right. Okay. So you go here, you have hydrogen.
Yep.
There you see lithium right below it.
Yep.
Below that, you have sodium and potassium. Now, if you think about it, everybody's talking about the different types of batteries. They'll talk about potassium and sodium batteries. They talk about hydrogen as the next thing. The whole truth is this whole column. This column only is what we call electron donors. On the far end are the nobles, right? The helium, the xenon, the
argon.
Right here, argon, and they all have a complete valence shell, right? That outer shell. So whatever column you're on shows how many are in that valence shell. So lithium having only one, and it wants a complete valence shell, gives away its electrons like crazy. So it basically combines with everything. Same thing with hydrogen. So with the exception of the noble gases. So that's why lithium is so used so often as a battery, because it's small, has lots of energy in it, and is willing to be used to donate electrons.
Sure.
So that got me going. That got me thinking, And so, you quickly read, within a few moments, you run across a graph. I'm going to show you one example if I can.
Yeah.
Let me share my screen here.
Absolutely. And so, folks, just while Rob cues this up on the screen, the thing that was so intriguing when I first started talking with Rob is like, he acknowledged, hey, there's obviously this crazy attention for EVs, but no one's really talking about the components needed, all of the these precious metals that are in high demand. And where do we find them? How do we better understand all this? And so that's what captured my personal attention, and that's what's led us to this moment. But yeah, Rob, cue up the screen whenever you're ready. Hey, now we're cooking.
Okay, let's see if I can go this full screen here. So slideshow. All right.
Perfect.
Now, this right here is this is a slide you will see in numerous different flavors, and I don't even know which lithium company I got this from.
Okay.
But they all look alike.
Yeah,
what
sure.
you'll see is we show barely any lithium production nowadays. Then we saw a little bit coming online in 2021, and it slowly goes up. But what you start seeing is this down here at the bottom, which is the undersupply, and that undersupply continues to get very big. Now, I'm going to tell you, with the news today of more and more companies going towards lithium supplies, this is even worse.
Yeah.
One of the things that kind of gets me here is that we have a major issue with shortages and domestic shortages. In May, Biden spoke at length on the fact that when he first came in office, he wanted to say we want to become independent in our lithium supply. Well, by 2030, that's 300,000 tons of lithium. Let me be clear. Right now, we're making 5,000 tons of lithium.
Oh,
that's really short.
Yeah.
Really short. And we have one working lithium mine. And that lithium mine is the Silver Peak mine near Las Vegas.
Okay.
Albemarle. That stock sits at about 135, 140.
What's the ticker on that?
ALB.
ALB. Okay.
Let me see if I can.
Oh, don't worry. I'll edit and put that up later. You just keep going here.
Yeah, ALB is, like I said, it's the only one out there. It's a small operation. You have other companies that are U.S. companies. Livent, for example, LTHM, they're producing out of Argentina. You have Palbera, which is Australian. There's quite a few. The biggest is SQM.
Yep.
And that's Sociedad Química y Minera de Chile.
That's in Chile, right?
Right. All right. So great point. The lithium center of the world, so to speak, is where Chile and Argentina and Bolivia meet.
Yeah, right? So South America, kind of down by the equator.
Well, it's hot there.
Yep.
And the reason that matters is, let's go up here to, let's take a look here. This is the mines that you see in Argentina.
Okay.
You see these are huge, immense ponds.
Yeah.
And we're talking thousands and thousands and thousands of acres. You pump the brine up, which we're going to talk about brine here in a moment, and it sun dries. Now, brine is the remnants of an ocean. I want you to think about something here. Let's kind of switch over to geology. I like the pictures, but anyways, we're going to switch over to geology really quick. What happened, lithium itself is made in the sun, like all elements. It's 3 hydrogen atoms get smashed together. They somehow pick up 4 neutrons. I don't know how that happens. I'm not asking. It's private life.
Yeah.
But anyway, so those come on the solar winds, and they're blown onto Earth pretty regular. We also get it from other forms. It lands in the ocean. Over time, like I said, lithium is, best way to explain lithium is it's a whore.
Yep.
It will bind with everything because it's got one electron it wants to give away so easy. It is dolled up and waiting for a date. so for the most part, we find it binding really quick with carbon in the oceans and everything else. So it winds up settling in the sediment underneath the oceans. So as oceans come and go, and they come and go a lot, they wind up forming what we call aquifers, and underneath the ground, huge. And it's basically all the nasty stuff that was left in an ocean. So let's take a look. Let's go back to the Jurassic period here. This is this one right here. Let me bring it up. I like this drawing. This is from somebody's looking at the aquifer. But you can see where Florida is now.
Yeah.
This is what Gondwana, love to say that, is what we know as South America at this point.
Sure.
But you'll notice they don't connect. This is Africa. And this little teeth right here is the Atlantic Ocean. The Atlantic Ocean was just forming. Near the end, at one juncture, Africa had set right here.
Oh, sure.
So we'd seen a lot of different times. But everywhere in the south across here was a pretty large inland sea, very shallow. And it had been there since the Guadalupe period, which was about 240 million years ago, before the dinosaurs.
Yeah.
So this actually built up quite a bit of sediment. Now, this sediment is nasty stuff. So let's go forward a couple of years. Oil was struck in 1921 in South Arkansas. That oil comes out, and what comes out too, if you drill too deep, was seawater. Lots of seawater, and under pressure, because remember, there's not a hole in the ground where oil sits. Instead, it is absolutely embedded in the rock.
Sure.
So when you push down into it and you drill down into it, you break the hold. It gives a spot where it says less pressure, so all the oil goes to fill that up, and it comes up the top. That's how you get oil. But if you drill deeper, you get salt water, brine. Well, they were drilling this out, and they just started spraying this brine on the ground. It kills everything.
Yeah.
It is absolutely just a toxic mess. I actually have here a breakup of what it looks like right here. This is probably not as clear as I'd like it to be, but this was from the U.S. Geological Service. And you'll see lithium in here. You'll see magnesium. You see strontium, which is actually a rare metal, beryllium, and
so
all this stuff in there.
You were talking about how it's toxic, but it's toxic with metals.
It's toxic with metals and everything that actually settles down.
Yep.
If you think about it right now, maybe you may or may not be familiar with the Gulf Coast, and around Mobile Bay is a lot of swamp areas, and inside there, it's actually the cleaning system of the ocean. So the water comes in, and the mud takes out contaminants and particles, and as the tide comes out, it sinks down in that mud, and it keeps cycling that just in and out. Well, those toxics and everything else winds up being kind of amazing stuff, but they kill things for a while. But if we can get to them, we can make things out of them.
So how come we're not, mining in the Gulf or in the bayous down in that region?
Well, we've been drilling oil for a long time.
Sure.
Now,
oh, yeah.
As I look through a lot of this, up until 1990 or so, no one even really tested for lithium, because after the medical usage and a couple in ceramics, there wasn't a lot of lithium uses. So it was pretty much a throwaway element. So we didn't know we had it. But this vast field, let's go back one here to this. If you will notice here, here's your Gulf Coast. That's where Louisiana sits. This is coming down to Texas.
Yep.
So this is well into Arkansas, over into western Tennessee, across Mississippi, Alabama, even to the panhandle of Florida, going all the way past Dallas
Yep.
down and into Mexico. So the remnants of this ocean really dried up. There's some types of, we found some types of rock inside there that shows an ocean that dries, right? And the crystals itself, because the rocks tell a story, right? How they were formed.
Oh, sure.
And so we see there that this inland sea basically evaporated. Well, it didn't quite evaporate. It became what most of the water left, and it went down into the ground. And that's where we're at now. Over time, it filled in, and then the Gulf of Mexico formed again later on. So the point here is that here's all this different materials, and you can see where this field is. Now, I think I want to talk about it real quick. This drawing.
Yep.
This shows us all the different metals and minerals that we have in the world, right? That we're looking at. Now they mark here lithium in the low area of
supply risk, but that other chart suggested, in 10 years, that's going to be the complete opposite.
Well, let me tell you, see, so funny thing here is it depends on who's telling the story, right? This is a rare earth company I like. So they do a lot of this light rare earth minerals and heavy rare earth minerals. And they're right. This stuff is really red. It's hard to find. But so at the same time, you know, some of the other ones that we need to have is magnesium, niobium, germanium, your chip shortage. There's your part of your chip shortage. Strontium, cobalt. This is a lot of subjects. Like I said, this is a lot of subjects. I could talk about cobalt too.
Well, I listened to an earnings call where Elon Musk was talking for Tesla, and he literally paused in the middle of the whole thing and said, if there is anyone out there that's supplying, lithium or cobalt, call me. I'll buy it.
Right. And he changed that to nickel. And
okay.
So Vale, Vale, calls him. That's why I own Vale. By the way, Vale is the world's largest producer of nickel and the largest producer of iron and one of the largest producer of magnesium.
Where are they based?
They're a U.S. company, but their mines, the best mine in the world for nickel and the best mine in the world for copper appears to be just north of the Great Lakes.
Really?
What we do know now is there's some of the clearest strikes of minerals, and there's actually how the earth was made about this. But you go down there and you just see perfect copper, which copper is a nasty element for the most part because it usually appears with arsenic. And so it winds up being an environmental nightmare.
Yeah.
But copper's clear, nickel, which is not really common in the crust. We know our core is made of nickel and iron, but for the most part, most of that nickel and iron, when the earth was formed after the strike, which is easy to remember, 4.56 billion years ago. But it's an easy
yesterday. Yeah.
Right. Well, when that happened, there weren't really any continents at that point, right? So the iron and metals that were mixed in the Earth's early form begins through molten processes to go towards the center. So there's not a lot of nickel and iron near the surface. But here in Canada is some just perfect strikes of nickel. What we found out over time was that was a meteor strike, probably sometime about just before the Great Oxidation Event. So that would have been 2.5 billion years ago. And at that juncture, it winds up, they believe it would have been molten for over 100 million years. And so that, if you can imagine dropping a piece of ice into water, as it goes down, it pulls up that stuff from the bottom up with it as it pops back to the surface.
Sure.
So the metal is so pure and clean, it's because of that meteor strike. So Vale is long and short, Vale provides great nickel because they control that. They also have nickel reserves, I think, in Brazil, South America again. Now, your rare earth minerals, for the most part, are controlled by the Chinese. The United States has one working mine for that. It's MP, Mountain Pass. MP is a good stock to own, and the fact that that's absolutely a centerpiece on a lot of the earth metals we need is rare earths. Rare earths come into weird points when you're making magnets, when you're making parts inside the semiconductor, parts for different pieces that you need. Maybe it's to make it so it doesn't corrode a lot, whatever it's needed there. Finally, nobium, for example, in the high there, it's going to be interesting because they think there's some superconductor nature to that. And superconductor will be used quite a bit. If you also see the PGMs, that's the platinum group metals. For the most part, it's Russia's game and South Africa. Those are the two. When you find one of them, you find platinum, you find rhodium, you find the others together. But they're very rare to Earth itself, which is natural graphite. That's absolutely, I started digging for natural graphite in my research. And Daniel, I'm sorry if I'm jumping around here, but
no, this is great.
Natural graphite. Okay, so the way graphite is formed, graphite is pure carbon, and it forms what we call a super bond. Graphene you need graphite for graphene, which is going to be a high-end metal. Probably be something when you can make a battery that's basically a paint. It can be made one atom thick, and it has an amazing sigma bond, which means it's very difficult to break up. So graphite itself is made by carbon. So what winds up happening is this ocean floor is being always regenerated, and as it goes beneath the plates by goes underneath the plates. I can't remember the word.
Sure.
But anyways, as it goes underneath the plates, it's heated, and in volcanic areas, the carbon now strips itself of the other pieces of calcium. Calcium sometimes gets pressured, becomes marble. But either way, the graphite is formed into columns that you see where the continents are hitting each other by subduction. That's the word I was looking for. Subduction the whole damn time. But anyway, subduction is what you're looking for, and that's where we find graphite. I've read and trying to track down, there may be natural graphite. There's right now a big source of graphite in the United States is in Alaska. Over time, the natural graphite also, I believe, will be found in Chesapeake Bay, because there was a chance that there was a meteor strike there 11,000 years ago, which would have ended the Clovis people. And I know that they found graphite and iridium, which you always find iridium with a meteor strike, and that there was possibly the two of them there.
Rob, are you sure you weren't like an archaeologist in like your past life or something?
But no, this actually got really interesting. Geology's absolutely fascinating.
No, I'm loving this. I feel like I'm going to owe you for tuition at the end of this.
Well, look, if you can understand this, then you understand the challenges people have when we're making things.
Yeah.
And you understand why certain pieces are there. I'm trying to learn this stuff day in, day out. That's why you'll see me post things about, hey, I found out this does this does this. And here's the companies to look for. Like, for example, you see under low, you see vanadium. Vanadium is controlled by the Chinese. There's only one vanadium mine in the United States. Vanadium.
Hold on, is that in the moderate, or where are we looking?
Well, they say it is low. But
oh, really?
Here's the thing I like about vanadium. Vanadium makes for a flow battery, redox flow battery, which I would love to have a long talk about that, but that's a rabbit hole. But vanadium is going to be, that's how the Chinese are chasing their grid storage. Lithium's not really unless you're Elon Musk, everything's is a lithium chance. But unless you're doing that, otherwise, for the most part, it's not a great solution for certain things. vanadium can be used and it never loses charge. It can be charged thousands and thousands of times. It's
Oh my
big.
God, this sounds like the, utopia of batteries.
That is it. Between that and zinc bromide, the redox flow batteries are completely chemical. For example, I can. Oh Lord, here I go. I love this subject.
I can't tell, Rob. I can't tell.
Well, you think about it. If you get two tanks, right? And as the charge comes onto it, one tank empties and goes to the other tank, and it changes color. So you know you have a charge because the chemistry happens. You could literally unplug the machine. If you could wait 1,000 years, come back and replug it, it would have the same charge on it because it's
Get the hell out of here.
Chemically induced.
So usually, just for our listeners and viewers, if you ever watch like a car show and they're chroming, parts of a car, they're dipping it in all these damn tanks. I mean, that's kind of what we're talking about, right?
Right. Yeah, right. And the thing here is that vanadium is toxic. That's why I'm not really happy with it. Zinc bromide is not toxic. You could actually it's not good for you. Don't drink bromide. But anyways, if there's a fire at your house, you can actually pour out your battery on it and it will put it out. Which, hey, Elon, your batteries are still on fire in Australia. Anyway, no, but the thing here is that this becomes a great solution if you have floor space, if you have room, then why go with lithium where you're going to have a life expectancy and a shelf life?
But Rob, we both know lithium creates a product cycle that forces me to spend another $1,000 on the same goddamn iPhone. Yes. I'm getting the software is different, but I'm having to buy a different piece of hardware because of the life cycle of this stupid battery, right?
Well, think about this too.
So it's bad for business.
Your iPhone, there's 1,000 iPhones worth in a car, right? Of lithium. And so for the most part, we haven't even begun to talk about it. So let's get back to lithium real quick here, because we could talk about this. And matter of fact, you could do a show on almost every. So hold on,
just to wrap up that previous point, ideally, in a utopic world, vanadium is the ideal material to build batteries because it can sustain that charge infinitely, and
a redox flow is the ideal, and vanadium is one form of it. I like zinc bromide a little bit better because I think zinc bromide has zinc is easy to get. We have plenty of zinc.
Yep.
Bromide, I will show. We'll have a lot when we start talking about brine. You realize we do not have a shortage of bromide.
Well, and I'm seeing zinc in the very low category, right?
Right. Absolutely. Zinc is easy. Zinc's easy. Zinc is actually used in ships, for example, as a sacrificial metal. Anywhere you're dealing salt water, you'll strap zinc to it. The zinc will wear away, and it keeps the iron and steel from oxidizing as quickly. All right. So what we're looking at here is Pilbara mine in Australia, and the one you're looking at is the south pit. The one in the front is the north pit. They're mining what's up there at the top, not left, spodumene. Spodumene, please forgive me. I probably.
Oh yeah, all the syllables and don't worry, I'm right there with you.
Forever, but if you look, it's real pretty. This is what happens when the brine and everything is dried up inside there. These were creek beds. This was ocean beds. That over time it has crystallized into that. Down the bottom is as another form. This is both lithium's in it, aluminum's in these. Oxygen.
I can see that shade of aluminum there.
Right. It's really a neat deal. Now, this is one form. This is hard rock mining. You're one in Nevada, for example, and Thacker Pass, which is coming online, which they once they get through, that's LAC, will be much like this. Probably not quite as deep. The word they use is overburden. The overburden is a little bit less than Thacker Pass. Thacker Pass originally was a lake. As it dried up, apparently there was an inland sea again, a different inland sea, and it's part of, if you go to Las Vegas, you'll find on the ground, and somewhere here I have one, but it's a coral You'll find coral laying there on the ground.
Get the hell out of here.
Yeah, it was an ocean. It was at the bottom of a sea. And so that right there, anytime you see that, you know that that's sediment from a sea. So there's a good chance you have lithium. And it's where the water and everything else drained to the longest, the sediment built up the most.
Sure.
Right? So same thing with gold in
I was just going to mention gold.
California. Gold in California, for example, is the same thing. That's why they used hydros to wash away all the rock to get down.
Whatever's left over, get your gold, baby.
Right. The tailings were there. Okay, so this is what a hard rock mine looks like. And I'm going to go, this is, again, the other way, taking the brine and pouring it out onto the ground.
Let it evaporate, and then, yep.
Now, the problem here with this is you can't do this through most of the United States. In the Southeast, when do you have enough sunlight and stuff that because a hurricane comes through, and guess what? You can't predict you're screwed. You're screwed. You can't figure out how long it's going to take to actually be able to yield the lithium. So this right here presented a problem because we knew there was problems with brine. Now, I, for some reason, remembered somewhere in my head that there was lithium in brine. And I said, wait a second. I had worked for Murphy USA in South Central Arkansas as an architect there. So when I sat there and I think, well, wait a second. Is there a company there that surely there's somebody pulling the lithium out there, right? Because we need lithium. Well, there was Standard Lithium. Standard Lithium started doing, let's see here. Standard Lithium is pulling the brine up out of the water. At this point, they've been pulling bromine out of the ground for about 50 years there.
So they just pump it.
They pump it up and they pump it back into the ground once they pull the bromine out. Well, now we're going to take it one more step and pull the lithium out as well before we re-inject it into the ground. The big thing about this was when in the 30s, when in Kilgore, Texas, they had started drilling for oil. And when they drilled for oil, oh, by the way, let me go ahead and say, I pulled these from the internet pictures. Whoever did this drawing did wonderful.
I think this is a great diagram.
It's a great diagram. It makes it easy to understand what they're trying to do. But anyway, they've been spraying water out and killing a whole bunch of deals. But what they kept finding out is as they were pumping oil, they would have to ever so often send their drill deeper because they were running dry. Well, so what they wound up doing was if you drilled too deep, you hit seawater.
Yeah.
So what they wound up thinking is what if we pump the water back down into the ground to push the oil up? So this began the process, and it actually was a godsend when it came to the environment.
So there's a threshold there, and once you start pumping it back down, it's going to raise the level back up.
Yes, because the oil sits on top of this brine.
Just like olive oil and water.
Oil and water.
Yep.
And so the thing here now is the brine, though, for the most part, was completely waste. It's nasty stuff. There's lots of things in it. So the mentality here was let's figure out a way to do this cleanly.
Yeah.
And
this is toxic as hell.
Toxic as hell. We had guys getting sick and everything else.
Oh my God! Yeah, I can't imagine.
Yeah, it was horrible. So we wound up over time coming up with a way to do this. And now when lithium came out, yeah, sure enough, Standard Lithium SLI is doing this right here. Now,
hold on, really quick. Is this all a relatively new process?
Yes.
They've been doing. Yes. I mean, how long have they been doing this?
Well, they're going to be the first to do it.
That's wow!
Just it.
Standard Lithium.
Direct lithium extraction, DLE. And there's a couple of projects on for lithium extraction. There's one in Germany. There's one in California, Hell's Kitchen. GM put in a lot of money to that about 3 or 4 weeks ago. That's hot brine. And what they're doing there is for geothermal, they're still taking that brine, they bring it up to the surface, let it cool into ponds, and then pump it back down And as it pumps back up, it begins doing a cycle, letting the earth itself heat it up for geothermal. So what they're going to try to do is extract the lithium from that. There's a lot of, one thing that to realize here is that there's no such thing as a single brine, right? Every brine is chemically made up different. There's a lot of people. One guy who I recommend people follow is Joe Lowry, Global Lithium. He's mentioned that the stuff about geothermal is not easy. Now, when they started pulling the brine out of the ones in Arkansas, though, they've been able to achieve 99.975% purity for lithium carbonate. A lot of people want lithium hydroxide, but you can make lithium hydroxide from lithium carbonate. The pro here is that there are about 15,000 square acres. That's a big difference.
Yeah.
There's 15,000 square acres down in Arkansas from a company called Land Access that has been mining bromine for decades. So most of that lithium has been pumped right back into the ground. So now they can actually pump and connect up numerous times. So their first goal is 21,000 tons of lithium carbonate a year. And they've already set up this. They're getting the last permits. They've proven they can do it. Their pilot works. So now the question is how quick can they scale?
Yeah.
I like this company here because if you're an oil company, this gives you a chance possibly to pivot into lithium. Yeah.
Which is great press for an oil company.
Right. Well, they need green carbon credits. Second, there's really, how does it feel like when you're seeing the lights flash?
Yeah.
If you're an oil company, your line of work, there's people honestly trying to kill you.
Yeah.
Right. So this allows you to sit there and pivot. And so I think there's that. I think the fact too is that basically from Pensacola all the way up to Memphis, all the way across Louisiana, Arkansas, southern Arkansas into Texas is lithium. So we basically, yes, and the United States honestly could. Now the positive here is SLI has not just this, they have this one contract, but they also own the method and they're on the ground running.
So this is a proprietary method.
Yes.
Do you see any opportunity? I mean, would they ever license this out?
Well, they're already talking to the next county over to a Tetra Technology, TTI.
Yeah.
Tetra Technology. South Arkansas is, I don't want to say ruled by, but a major family there is the Murphys, Murphy Oil, Murphy USA, Deltec Timber. But this is a Tetra Technologies is TTI is run by a Murphy. I don't know whether he's in a relationship, but hey, you're in South Arkansas, so
yeah.
I'm going to assume maybe you are. But so he at that juncture, he has a bromine plant in the next county over to the city of Magnolia. So that right there is already a good selection to pivot right next door. You already have connections. Rail systems are neat.
All the lines are pretty much there. They just got to connect them, right?
Right. Well, and think about this too. Austin, Texas, about 7 hours away. Austin, Texas was going to be waiting for spodumene from Piedmont Lithium out of North Carolina.
That's that pretty looking gemstone.
Green rocks. Yeah. Green. It comes from the Greek spodumus for ash gray, which is what the rocks become.
Are you sure you're not like a biology teacher on the side here?
No, I love history, but I love that, I'm an architect. I do computer systems and I do security. This is a side gig.
Well, I'm impressed. Sorry, continue.
No, thank you. So, but either way, if you think about it, so here's South Central Arkansas. You're about an hour away from I-20. I-20 connects to Dallas, Texas, all the way to Atlanta, Georgia.
Yep.
In Georgia, you have what? Ford's partnership with a battery company. You go over 20, up 55 from Jackson, Mississippi. You hit I-40 in Memphis. You're right close to what? Clarksville, Tennessee, which is microvast.
I've heard of that, I think.
You're right. You go south, you go west, Texas, go down to Austin, you're at Giga, Texas.
Yes, sir.
Here's a company that's going to be producing 27,000 tons a year at their onset, with sitting within 8 to 10 hours of a whole bunch of lithium customers.
Manufacturers and also,
batteries
companies. Yeah.
Right.
So strategically, geographically, as centralized as you could get.
I don't want to wish anything bad on anybody, but let's face it, Central American countries are known for having government changeovers.
Yep.
So if you have a government changeover there in South America, you need some domestic lithium. Now we have the one plant we have makes 5,000 tons a year. That's not enough. Everyone knows it.
Peanuts.
So what winds up happening here to me is that 2023, 2024, it's going to look like we're actually going to be okay. But by 2025 and 2026, you really start to hit a lithium shortage. And so these companies right now, this one right now, SLI, I think today closed maybe at 743, 744. I bought it in the twos in January.
That's my boy, Rob. That's my boy.
I've been preaching this thing. But the beauty
God bless you, friend.
But the beauty of this is this thing right here tells me that they can go, if you could do it here, you could do it in Kilgore, Texas. You do it here, you could do it in Midland, Texas. You do it here, you could do it in South Mississippi, South Alabama, Albany, Georgia, where that whole inland sea probably has good lithium throughout that. Yep. And here's a company that you absolutely, they ship down the things. They basically, let me see if we're going to take a second here while I bring this up.
So again, just to backtrack here, reemphasize, Standard Lithium is the only one with this bromine extraction that pumps it back into the ground and is able to get the lithium this way. This is the only one able to do it.
They're the ones right now that
pioneered it.
That's working. All right. Yeah. So let's see here. That's my stuff on LAC. Now this right here, I'm going to talk about. Let's go in. See if I can get in a little bit closer here. Oh, okay.
Yeah, right, dead center. There you go.
This is what I call my stoplight drawings.
Yeah, I remember you emailed me this graphic. So
stoplight drawings show me the tailwinds, the concerns, and the headwinds.
Okay.
Right now, this is my Standard Lithium piece. You see that it's scalable and repeatable. All right.
Love it.
Which there is going to be some tinkering. Remember I said no two brines are the same, but their methodology is scalable and repeatable. It's not susceptible to interruptions because they have so much bromide in the ground, bromine in the ground, that it's been going on for 50 years. We're just pulling what was already there. This is an environmental plus. We're talking about a setup here that takes less than an acre, not the thousands and tens of thousands of acres.
Yeah, like we saw in the original, huge
the ponds.
Yeah.
Right? Think about this. Think about this name. There is good reason to sit there and say that lithium is an environmental issue.
Hell yeah.
Mining it is a problem. What if I said here, what if I'm a Subaru or somebody? I'm typically an environmental friendly company. Yep. What if we say later on in my this EV, all lithium is environmentally ethically sourced? Well, who are you looking at? Standard Lithium.
Yeah. What a selling point, because we're in that era where consumers care. It almost dictates consumer purchases because there's the social responsibility. Being socially responsible is the new luxury. It's the new sexy appeal.
Yeah, I love that. I love this too, because one of the things that concerns me is that when Biden said we're going to rely heavily on our allies for lithium. Well, so is the rest of the world.
Yeah.
Joe, I mean, come on. Right now, who's the major user of the lithium coming out of Australia? It's not the United States. It's China.
Yeah.
China doesn't have good lithium. They use Pilbara. They use these other people. They're going down to talking to, I mean, Levent is out of their Argentinian is supplying China.
Sounds like the Biden administration needs to add you to the squad so that we can draw some awareness around the domestic opportunity.
Well, I think they've got enough fires right now, and one of the fires that's happening is there's an movement of mining out west. And when you read the history of mining out west, you go, yeah, you kind of earned that. Yeah. It's a nasty business, and it has been completely disregards the people there. So what really winds up happening here with Standard Lithium is, again, they shine because there's no real new interruption here. And the beautiful thing here is I'm taking out something that we're about to pump back into the ground either way.
Yeah.
So that's, their low debt, they actually already paid off their debt to land access. So they're ahead of the schedule there with this. They go online fairly quickly,
Which I think, Rob, anyone who's listening right now, probably that was one thing they suspected. What's the debt? It's got to be astronomically, expensive to do exactly this process. But for them to have already eliminated that debt, that's what you're saying.
Yeah, they've already eliminated the debt. They're also talking to someone else in Nevada, which I have not figured out who yet. That's cool. I'm you know what? I'm willing to be surprised.
Rob, if anyone's going to figure it out first, we know goddamn well it's going to be you.
I appreciate the hell out of that. Look, the thing here is that this company makes a lot of sense. I want to show you one other company that I did the same thing here with, and that's Lithium Americas.
So have you just kind of matrixed other lithium companies that are domestic side by side to just, okay.
Well, I'm trying to figure out where the hell we're going to get this lithium, right? Because we keep wanting it and we keep needing it.
Well, and there's, huge demand. And would you say after 2025, we should be good through the next 2-3 years, maybe 4 or 5 years, maybe, and then that's where
I think we start hitting. This is Lithium Americas. This is Thacker Pass. I think we start really hit. No, it depends. It depends. What happens when you're starting to make all your trucks on, with huge amounts of batteries? Notice that Tesla has not come out with a semi. I personally don't think they're going to. I think that's going to be just always a quarter or two away. And the reason is that when you're doing heavy, long range shipping, you really don't have time to have a truck charging, right? And, this is another one of those I'd love to just slap the Nikola guys with a wet fish.
Yeah.
You actually had the damn solution. Why did you plug in the truck? Okay.
Another podcast, but hey, my immediate thought to your criticism, which I agree with. Hey, trucking is all about logistics. Mm-hmm. We don't have time to, dink around with batteries, and charging. So my immediate thought, I'm just spitballing here, is we just need a modular battery. All right, we just take one out, put in another one, right?
Well, that's a cute idea, and I'll tell you, I was working in the auto industry for a major provider in the early 2000s, tier 1 provider called Denso Manufacturing.
Yep.
One of the things that, if you were reading in the trade mags in the early 2000s, GM and all these companies were already, and Toyota and all these others were already talking about what happens when we go to EVs. Big shock. They've already been talking about this. Right. So one of the things that they came up with was the idea of a swappable battery. Now, if you go to Napa right now, you realize that the filters, the little light bulbs, they don't want to use the same light bulbs as each other. So we're all going to use the same battery? Hell no. They're not going to. They can't get along long enough to do that.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of swapping batteries kind of died. I always thought it would be a problem too. I pulled into a gas station. I have a really good battery. I trade it out to and get it quickly connected up, and I'm back on my road, only to find that it says full, and I go 50 miles rather than 350, 400 miles. So
So it's not like swapping out your propane tank for another one.
Right. Yeah, your propane tank doesn't shrink over time, nor does it create what we call dendrites, which is a crystal between the cathode and anode, and that's what happens to lithium-ion batteries. They build that dendrite. Now, solid state's supposed to fix this. It doesn't actually fix it. It just makes it less likely.
Yeah.
So, okay. This is Lithium Americas.
Lithium America. So this is
LAC.
But
this is the largest.
The only other real, prominent competition to standard lithium. Would you say
this is going to be by the U.S. Geological Service? This is the largest deposit known in the United States.
Oh,
it's
really?
Thacker Pass.
But they don't have the proprietary process.
No, they don't need it. They're hard rock mine.
Oh, right? Okay.
There's no brine.
No brine, so hard rock. Okay.
Not much overburden. Has a life expectancy of 49 years on the mine. Able to create 30,000 tons a year.
So hold on, there's that would make sense, right? Every mine, eventually you're going to reach a threshold where the hell's the gold, right?
There's none left.
So if we're looking at brine and hard rock, lifetimes, are they comparable or?
Good question. I mean, I
guess we don't care because you and I will both be dead by the time they're gone. So let's move on.
There's a belief here, and there's a myth. Thank you, Joe Lowry. Yes, I did read your article. You were right. One of his things he pushes that there's a myth that in a few years that lithium recycling will take over the difference. But that's not even going to be at 10 years. Yeah. I mean, really, right now we don't have enough recycling to make really any dent in it.
It's too expensive.
Yeah, it's too expensive. It won't be later on. We'll need to. We'll need to recycle lithium batteries. But I think that's 10, 15 years before you actually get a recycling level of equipment coming back into the economy.
Yep.
So I look. This one is LAC. It's going to come about. They've been pressured by local Indian tribes, indigenous people. This is the last one kind of got thrown out, but they actually allowed another Indian group to join indigenous people, but they allowed them to join this. So there is tribal tensions. It is absolutely going to be, it's in Nevada, so it's going to be really close to Giga 1. I think it's going to go through. I think they're going to hold their nose and say yes for this one.
Yeah.
Because this is such a strategic piece. I think this one goes through. It comes online in late 22, maybe early 23.
The Lithium Americas mine.
Yes.
So I'm reading your chart here too under the concerns. Tribal issues, tribal land possibly, I imagine, right?
Yeah. And you'll see my thing on all my stuff. You'll see a sexy factor.
So there's tons of there's probably a shit ton of bureaucracy, a lot of jumping through hoops to make this possible. Tons of lobbyists probably.
Well, I'm going to say one thing here. This is that subject we could get into, Western mining practices. One of the things that the courts have ruled over and over and over again, that tribal lands is not enough to stop mining.
Okay.
That has absolutely got, and to me personally, I'm like going, sometimes that's bad. This one here, from what I understand, the tribes aren't really close.
There's a compromise made everywhere, right?
Right.
This is going to
be a whole.
Well, I'm all for, tribal lands, everything there. I don't have a political stance on this. I'm sure some type of deal could be brokered where who doesn't want mail check money? Where all you got to do is go down to your mailbox and open up a check, Now,
do realize that Lithium Americas, by the way, has another operation. So if you buy Lithium Americas and this doesn't even go through, which I think it's going to go through. But if it doesn't go through, they do have a large solar evaporation project in Argentina.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, I'm seeing that here in your diagram.
now here is the actually the Thacker Pass drawing of the mine. Again, this is out in the middle of nowhere for the most part, but
Okay.
this was originally a lake, maybe possibly a mineral.
The part that's in blue.
Meteor rock. Well, if you see the area here, you can see.
Yeah, I can see the terrain, the topography.
Kind of makes a caldera. It kind of makes a caldera. So this basically made it so that sediment laid here again.
Yep.
Same rules. Some of the volcanic activities actually pushed this up into here. Over the years, they think that probably, I think this was 60 million years ago, that this was still underwater just after the dinosaurs. So again,
yep.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, on Earth, it's absolutely yesterday, right? But my point here is that you see how this is going. This is going to be, if we get this will be nice to add to the supply. Because if you're rooting for me, like I am for EVs, lithium needs to be handled. Now I'm betting that we're going to have a good financial situation here with these companies, but in the short term. But if we want EVs to make it, we need to figure this out, because otherwise you're going to price EVs out of.
Well, so
lithium.
Rob, and hear me out here. So I'm just, again, Labrador Retriever, thinking,
Sure.
up here. Inevitably, yeah, we're going to reach this crossroad where we're all going to be scratching our heads what the hell to do. This is going to surface, and why wouldn't it just go forward? I mean, where are the hurdles?
The hurdles are right now is in the courts. All the data comes back. It looks good.
It's just land use.
Known. Yeah, this is going. I don't think this one here. I don't think is going to be stopped, but it may be slowed down.
Well, but if one of the most, one of the hottest sectors in the market is dependent on this, there's gonna be a lot of people pushing for it, right?
Yeah, well, I mean, this is the story of economics throughout history. Let me go ahead and take one more while we're sitting here.
Yep.
Each one of these.
Keep her coming, Rob.
Let's go to Piedmont Lithium.
And this is a free tuition tonight, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm loving this. You're doing a fantastic job. I love all the work. And just another reason, folks, why you should follow Rob on Twitter. I mean, who else does this level of due diligence or a deep dive, let alone on FinTwit? This is my boy. All right, Rob, pick her up.
You could be number 329 follower, and I look forward to you.
All right, goal is to 1,000 by the end of the month. Let's go.
Yeah, okay. But no, seriously, I would love it. I'd love to have followers and everything else. Let's talk about Piedmont Lithium.
Piedmont, all right.
Piedmont Lithium signed a huge deal with, it seemed like a huge deal with Tesla, that they would provide their lithium. All right.
When was that, by the way? Was that in the last year?
Yeah, I think it was August of 20. Was it August or November of 20? Either way, it wound up taking a $5 stock and putting it right now around 70, between 50 and 70. If you want to, you can write it for 52 to 72, and you could sell it 72 and go back down. Don't worry, you have your buying opportunity again in the low 50s. And
the ticker is PLL.
PLL.
Okay.
Piedmont Lithium. It's okay. Their problem right now is they have had an issue talking. They got the federal permission really quick. Federal permission, because the birthplace of lithium mining in the United States is in North Carolina, in this area right here near Gastonia.
Yeah.
Now, if you look here, you have the Haleman Beam mine and the Kings Mountain mine. This is these two mines right here were early lithium mines and historical. So the Piedmont Lithium we knew there's lithium there.
Yep.
They got the federal employee, but didn't talk to anyone. Locals kind of started getting mad, and so the county commission and the state says, "Honey, you got to come talk to us too."
Well, hold on. What was the intention? So they went and sought out what?
you have to get, your permits aren't just with the federal government.
Yeah,
the
it's
permits
local.
are also state and local, and for the most part the state and local people felt like they had been weren't important.
Sure.
So that's what really sucks.
Piedmont did a little backdoor action with the federal government, thinking, hey, if it's federal, county, who cares, right?
They're going to make lithium hydroxide here, not lithium carbonate, which is the next step. That lithium hydroxide is preferred because it it's a denser form of lithium to make cathodes.
Oh, so you don't get the crystallization?
And you still get the crystallization. Yeah, okay. we have not beat that. Okay. And that's a whole conversation on QuantumScape. But
from a technical spec, it's probably more desirable.
Yes, it's more desirable, but you can buy lithium carbonate and turn it into lithium hydroxide.
One more question for you here. You take the same amount, both side by side. Do they carry the same value? Is one more valuable than the other?
Okay, that's an interesting question. In the spot prices right now, what was it today? $14,000 a ton.
So you're looking at on a commodity level too with this.
Yeah. The commodity level of this has absolutely gone up. Beginning of the year, it was about $4,000 a ton. It's now $14,000 a ton.
Rob, you should do a weekly, if it price varies like gasoline or something, you should do a weekly tweet just of this. Here's the price of this. I'd love that.
Yeah, I put out a tweet yesterday talking about the value of right now. I think on standard lithium, if they hit that 21 tons a year, that's all plus the one next door that's going to be another 15 tons. That's 36 tons. That's almost $500 million a year in business, and they're right now valued at $1 billion. So to me, I'm sitting there going, and honey, that price is just going up. I mean, as much as anything, I have weird feelings. I kind of I'd love it to see SLI go up, but I kind of want to see it stay here a while so I can continue piling in.
Yeah.
It's a mixed emotions. But the pro here, let's go back to Piedmont Lithium.
Yeah, Piedmont.
Piedmont again is another 30 tons a year operation. They want to create high grade lithium, which apparently that area does have a good lithium supply.
North Carolina area.
Yep. Okay. And it was supposed to deliver to Tesla. And this week they came back and said that's been postponed indefinitely till they get all their permits and everything fixed.
So again, bureaucracy holding up the line.
Right, which means that both, if you look at this operation and Thacker Pass, these are your two big ones that are coming online. Silver Peak is already online, but it's only making 5 tons a year. So you're looking at standard lithium is, it's the only, when you're the only girl in the mining camp, you're also the prettiest. She's the prettiest person in the mining camp right now. So I'm really excited. That's another reason I like standard lithium. Now I like Piedmont. I like the fact that Piedmont Lithium actually has 3 projects. That's not just this one. There's also one in the Ivory Coast, and I think Argentina. Another one in Argentina.
Everything's in South America.
Right. All right. Well, for the most part, your major producers of lithium right now is Argentina, Chile, Ecuador, in any order, which is why SQM is so big. And then finally, in Australia, number 4. And the rest of the world is 5 because it just doesn't matter. I mean, 5th is so far behind. And that's because, I don't think, I'll be honest with you, I don't think huge ponds, they won't fly in most of the United States. It's too much rain. But 2, I don't see how you environmentally say, I want to take 10,000 acres or 1,000 acres and make ponds that are going to basically be uninhabitable for the next couple of years.
No,
it's
not going to fly.
Waste site. I don't think it flies. No. I think that's why the brine operations are so interesting. And so,
well, the one that Standard Oil has, pump it up, pump it down.
Right, Standard Lithium sits right inside there, and absolutely, that Joe Lowry has this caveat, and I think this caveat is very important.
What's that?
He says that it's not necessarily a snap-on technology. No two brines are the same, and that's what I keep saying here.
Yeah, you mentioned it earlier.
Right, there may be some chemistry differences. But the fact is, right now, there's no one really doing production level of this except Standard Lithium, who is, finishing putting the hydraulic pieces connected up. They're limited. The reason they're not making already is because of COVID. The Canadian border was closed, and so they couldn't get their equipment down to South Arkansas. But that's what held them up.
Can I pause really quick here? So when you say no two brines are alike, yeah, obviously you take a little geography here, you take a little geography there. It's gonna be different sentiments. But regardless, the brine itself, we're getting precious metals in all of them, right?
Yeah. So that's one of the things I wanted to see. I'd like to see over time. This is my desire. If I had a magic wand, is if you have strontium, for example, there's not a U.S. source of strontium. Spain and Portugal has strontium, and a couple of other pieces, and China, of course, has strontium. So that's one that we don't even have decent reserves of.
Yeah.
So again, that's another reason to pull it out. If it's in there and we can pull these things out.
Yeah, we'll take it.
We're already pulling bromine out. And bromine has lots of uses. So why not go ahead and pull the other things out too?
Yeah.
I like the idea. I like the fact that we can actually move these things in. I guess we could talk at this juncture. Let's go real quick.
Oh, no, real quick. You take as much time as you want. I'm loving this. I know the audience is going to love this.
Yeah, I wanted to go right here, and I didn't do it. So,
well, hey, let's do it.
Okay, yeah. So let's go over the 4 mining processes really quick.
So yeah, for the listeners on the podcast, this is the lithium mining methods here.
Right. Hard rock is an open pit mine. Okay. I also classified the clay. There's almost a 5th one here called clay. Tesla has tried to say they're trying to patent a way to do it.
Was that the spodumene? The spodumene mine that we were looking at earlier, that was a hard rock one, right?
That's hard rock. Almost all hard rock to me is a pit mine.
Okay.
And the thing here is that with the idea of using the clay, just like anything else, look, you're looking for a way that collected sediment, right? And so clay would have collected sediment. Remember, lithium is not really that rare. It's just hard to get it in concentrates, right? So we want the sediment to have concentrated it. So we let the geology do the work. Because you could actually strain lithium out of the ocean, but you can also strain gold. But the parts per million are so small, you're not going to get any.
Yes, the math doesn't pencil. Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah, the math doesn't work. So second type is solar evaporation. This is the huge ponds we talked about. The third one is the one I'm working on. One I'm liking with SLI is brine extraction.
Brilliant. Yep, love it.
Fourth is hot brine, which is a geothermal brine. You get a chance. Germany is looking to do hot brine. And Vulcan Resources is, I think, the company. They just signed a deal with Renault. That right there in that area, they've already had problems with dealing with thermal drills, and it wound up causing earthquakes in the area when it heated up the gypsum. Right. So the local German people are not as happy with geothermal as you would think.
Yeah, no matter how much beer they're drinking. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, you crack my foundation. I'm not happy.
Yeah.
So again, that may wind up having an issue. And hot brine presents, like I said, there's no two brines are the same. Hot brine is a completely different creature than the other brines that come out of the south central Arkansas area, which is hot itself, but nowhere near that hot. This is actually going down and touching the area of subduction of the Pacific plate going underneath the North American plate. So it's absolutely hot. I mean, this is lava hot, right?
Well, so we're looking at these 4 methods here. Number 3 being, and I don't know if they're listed in any particular order for a reason, but the brine extraction that we know Standard Lithium has got this proprietary method of. Would you say? I mean, everything I'm taking here is that's the most, that's the optimal, the method, right?
I like it the most personally because I think it's a small footprint.
Yep.
I think it's not solar dependent. I think it can make, in my mind right now, even taking in the caveat, I think it can be used to be modified at different locations of an entirely huge brine field that we know exists. Matter of fact, that brine field also, it was funny, but real quick, the Smackover brine field where we pull bromine out in South Central Arkansas. There's one other place where that is that looks very similar, and that's Saudi Arabia. And when I first heard Lucid was moving in there, I thought, wow, so they'll be really close to the lithium source. So kind of I think in a lot of ways, the brine extraction to me, they will find a lot of key friends in my mind in the oil industry who would like to find ways to pivot.
Yep.
I think the geothermal brine, the great thing that they push here is that you're also making electricity, so it's self-supporting. Okay. All right. Sounds great.
But, we talked about...
I think it's too expensive.
Yeah, the footprint, though, that environmental impact. I mean, there's so many intriguing attributes of the brine extraction. I think that's fantastic. The thing that I'm most curious about, so we've got the 4 methods here. Have we matrixed the cost of all of them?
Not really.
Yeah, I think
I'd love to say I have. Yeah,
all right. We think about how bureaucratic all of this is, right? We know that that's dictated why this hasn't opened there and this and that, right? Everything boils down to dollars and cents. Let's be honest.
Would you want to run a mining operation that has environmental impact in California?
Well, I mean, no, I wouldn't.
I think that would be, to me, murder on a stick.
Yeah. But everything's dollars and cents. These politicians don't give 2 hoots. It's all dollars and cents.
Yeah, I think so, but I think it's... sadly, one state over in Nevada, you're in the middle of a desert, and it's probably far easier to do things in Nevada than it is in California. Now, I did have one other mine, which I'm still trying to figure out where they're at, which is the Big Sandy mine and lithium mine in Arizona. They're going to have another indigenous people discussion. This is right next to some sacred lands, but it's not on the sacred lands. I don't know how that's going to play out. There's low overburden, but then they're also talking about mining copper, which to me, I'm sitting there going, okay, copper is
it's easy to
always
get.
With arsenic. Copper always comes with arsenic. It winds up when you smelt copper, the fumes and everything else off of it tend to kill a lot of stuff in the area. It is absolutely messy.
Export or import that, yeah.
I think so.
We've tackled a bunch of the domestic players. Mm-hmm. It sounds like you can count them on your hand, right?
You can. Although there's a lot of. This is where you could spend a lot of money in penny stocks, and maybe you hit some, maybe you don't.
Yeah.
Lithium God, I'll have about the same name. Yeah. I don't know if you ever saw The Life of Brian. We're the People's Force of Southern. No, those guys, they're the Judea's People's Front. It's like the same 3 names all over. A lot of them are strangely out of Canada. Matter of fact, Standard Lithium was originally out of Vancouver. I think that's where their corporate office is, Robert Mintak. Um,
Well, if you had to narrow down a list of, your top three that the audience and our followers should should care about, who
my
are
top three. My top three. I like Standard Lithium because I like them hitting the ground soon. I like the fact that they're small footprint. I think that they play out, and I like their location, and I like the repeatability. LAC, I think it's going to happen.
that was the Lithium Americas.
Lithium Americas at Thacker Park.
So we got SLY, Standard Lithium, LAC, Lithium Americas. What's the third?
And PLL. I like PLL, Piedmont. Levent was originally part of FMC. That's a huge company, of course. But they spun off their lithium business. But you really look, and they haven't done much to expand. I mean, right now, if you've got the ability to expand lithium right now, you're expanding. Now, truth be told, 2019 was a bad year in lithium. The money had the value per came down. But I think there's a couple of things going on there. You had some of the initial run up of EVs. The Model 3 would be the first conversation that was a lot of people were having. But, in actuality, lithium usage at that point, EVs were making less than 3% of the lithium usage. Cell phones were still far more. Ceramic paints and lubricants were
all the
easily
consumer electronics,
And Post-it notes, by the way. Lithium's used in Post-it notes. Just so you know.
Get the hell out of here.
yeah.
Here.
That would shock me. I was like going, oh, okay, sure. I don't know why, but it's used in Post-it notes. So
hey, you know what? I think we all just learned something new.
Yeah. So I mean, the thing here is that we could talk about any of these companies for a long time, and we could also talk about the deals. But I want the listener here. I hope what you walked away with, in kind of summary, is the different types of lithium minings. Some of the things that are going on right now in the lithium space. The different types of extraction. And for the most part, maybe I hope you do become a fan of Standard Lithium like I am. But
Rob, I'm hooked.
Oh yeah,
I can't wait for the market to open. I'm loading up, baby.
Right, it's $7 something. Come on, it's cheap. And the thing
you don't want to sell me some of those $2 shares you got?
No, I want to keep those. Thank you. No, but the thing here is that this market here is. I don't know whether it will Ford pull off the comeback kid? Will Lucid make their dreams come true? Will Tesla even survive competition from the Japanese? Which that's a great question. Yep. I don't at this point. I don't care. I don't care. You're all going to have to come to where my investments are. You got to come to me. And that's the pro of this, because this allows me to sit there and say, we know EVs are going to happen. And if we go towards, say, a fuel cell, you're still going to have lithium batteries for the fuel cell to charge and discharge from. Yeah. So lithium is a player for quite a while to come, because if you look at the charts, you look at this other, even if you use hydrogen, you're using hydrogen to store the electricity in lithium.
Yeah, so regardless,
right,
it's you can't do it without it.
It's where the paths cross. It's where all the paths cross, and that's why this is such a good, easy market to do it. And right now, you're buying in pretty cheap. I mean, Piedmont Lithium's expensive.
Sorry here.
No, that's fine, dude. Piedmont Lithium is cheap, right? Is not really expensive, although I think it's more expensive than ALB, which is the biggest one. It's about $140 a share. SQB, which is the absolute cheap one right now, at $48 a share. That's the world's largest producer. But again, that's in Chile, and there's some new government there, and people looking for mining rights and environmental issues. They may have some headwinds. So you look at it, you say, okay, well, Standard Lithium is $7.30 a share, as we're speaking tonight. It's had a run really over the last couple of weeks here. LEC is at $13.80, and every time you think it's time to buy LEC, the court says something, and that scares away people. But at $13, you're going, you're still going to have lithium, because they've got the Argentina comes online, and that doesn't matter what the courts say here. So if you want to play the market and just you look at the LIT. LIT is a ETF.
Yeah.
And although I'll tell you this much, Standard Lithium's not listed yet. I think they will be. Piedmont is inside there.
LAC too?
LAC is listed. Yes, LAC is inside there. But strangely enough, Microvast is not in there yet. Yet. So what happens when these two stocks get listed inside the ETF? I think that sends price action up. That's my thought.
And one more time on that ticker, LIT, lit?
LIT, lit. Global, global something, LIT.
Rob, this wouldn't be a lithium podcast episode without a conclusion that touched down on a quick Microvast, overview here. I know you've done a lot of due diligence.
Yes.
Obviously, we both share the same enthusiasm for the company, everything they've done to date. But from a lithium and everything, everyone looks at it as just the batteries. Give us your pitch, your 2-minute spiel on why you think Microvast is going to be a juggernaut in its own regard in the battery tech realm.
Well, having worked in the car industry for 12 years,
yep.
One of the things that that matters that most people don't is, while quality is very important, just-in-time manufacturing is the critical key, JIT. If you are making anything, you have to be able to keep the lines moving. The fact is Microvast will be located within a short drive of Cottondale, Alabama, Tuscaloosa, where Mercedes-Benz has a huge plant. Also Spartanburg, South Carolina, which is where you have a large plant there.
Yep.
For BMW. Nissan is in that state. Then you have everything in Indiana from Subaru. Toyota is there. Toyota is also in Mississippi, and Toyota is, of course, in Texas. So GM is throughout the whole region, and Ford is throughout the whole region. So you have basically somebody who can take in and meet your needs. So to me, this is a no-brainer as to why that company is going to be huge. They already have a huge connection with Bosch. Bosch actually handed them a plant. That plant in Clarksville was Bosch. Bosch doesn't walk away from things very often. There's two companies to know in auto manufacturing: Denso and Bosch.
Yep.
Right?
Which most people wouldn't even think.
No.
Right?
No, but Denso is the largest tier one parts manufacturer. They used to be part of Toyota. Robert Bosch is huge throughout Europe.
German base, right?
Right. They're mirrors of each other. For example, Broza, whenever you see Broza parts, you're dealing with Bosch. Whenever you see Peugeot, you're dealing with Denso. And Puro, for example, is a combination between Robert Bosch and Denso, if I remember properly. But these companies here, they don't give up property very quickly, and they're the reason how your plants are built. If you want to look at something interesting and figure out whether I'm onto something, and I'm telling you this, look at your seat manufacturers for cars. They're usually within 10 to 15 minutes drive of the final assembly plant.
Well, the seat, the actual thing I'm sitting on.
Yeah, seat and upholstery, right?
Why is that? Why do you think that is?
Well, so the production control plant of any plant starts off in the morning, and they decide what they're going to make that day. Now, upholstery wise, you don't want to sit there and have 5 different colors, you know, alternating in at different things when you're making cars. So this morning we're going to be making this car with this type of seat and this type of deal. So I want the plants that are closest to me making that material immediately.
Yeah.
So the fact is too is if there's a problem, which upholstery is notoriously easy to mess up, right? It's absolutely hand. There's not easy to do mechanized.
Yeah.
So again, you don't want to give up any time on the highway.
Yeah.
And any part that's made for a car, I'm near a Denso plant here in Tennessee. They make starters and alternators, for example, about 3 million of each a year. They had less than 6 customer returns a year. But the starter and alternator that they're making right now will be in a car within 72 hours. All right. That is the edge of just in time. That's absolutely almost too far ahead. The idea is if I make a starter today and I find out something is wrong with this starter in the design, I could change it, but I don't have a whole warehouse full of crap that I'll never use again.
Yeah.
So this reduces waste. This reduces WIP. This reduces the idea of this reduces
any bottlenecking. Yeah.
Right. You have places where the truck will absolutely arrive at say 10:47 a.m. The guy in the tractor never gets out of the truck. He pulls up. A person raises the gate. They load the truck as necessary. He is leaving at 10:59 and 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Right. And there have
clockwork,
stories,
baby.
There's stories of the forklift getting almost caught or coming off into the ground because the truck's leaving. The fact is you can't stop lines. So let's get back to Microvast. Microvast is within this driving range and within this target range of much of the auto manufacturing in the United States. The oddballs really are Tesla in California, in Fremont, and that's, and Lucid in Arizona. Now, but Lucid did come close to I-40, which does get them a lot of parts, and they use companies there, by the way, a lot of Robert Bosch. So you know that their mentality is going to be European.
Yep.
There's not really been a Japanese manufactured EV yet. And I wonder how that changes. I don't mean to, this is a large subject here too, but I keep pushing. When I buy a Toyota, or I buy a Honda, they're not necessarily the most exciting car.
Yeah.
But I do know that car is going to be amazingly well made.
Oh, yeah.
Right? The quality is always
drive
there.
it for 20 years.
Right. You will be tired of the car.
Yeah.
You will be tired of the car before the car dies.
Yep. Decays. Yep.
So to me, owning a Tesla, I love my car, but it's not manufactured to the same level as any of the Toyotas I've ever owned or Hondas I've ever owned. It's a fun car. It's great.
Hey, Rob, happy wife, happy life.
Hey, she loves it. I love the car.
Yeah.
But my thing here is this changes things. So again, this is going to get back into how lithium is viewed in the long run. I'm sorry, but this is a large subject. You could probably do a weekly lithium specific company and have weeks of content. That's the
sounds like we need to start another podcast.
You certainly can, because this right here winds up underpinning quite a bit. The materials itself sector is an underpinning of quite a bit. That's why I tell people, what do you want for as a back end, kind of the base of your deal? I pick Vail. Vail is absolutely hits so damn many buttons, check boxes. I love that company.
Yeah.
Copper, sure, they get it. Nickel, yep. Iron, yep, you need those.
Checking all the boxes.
Mm-hmm. You're going to have aluminum. Alcohol aluminum is probably pretty good there. So, yeah, I mean, that's the thing here. I don't know how to wrap it up.
Well, hey, I think so. We got a lot of retail investors listening and watching this. I think all of them are just going to be. I think at this point, if you haven't, turn the skeptics into believers, or if they're not already, enthusiastic about lithium, you snooze, you lose, right?
Right.
But
Right.
I think, for me, I think they probably want to know, hey, I've got X amount of dollars. I can only put so much on one or two plays here. Which one do you think you're recommending? Again, none of us are financial advisors here.
No.
None of us have a crystal ball here.
If you don't want to sit there and babysit it,
Yeah.
lit, LAT.
Yep, the ETF makes sense.
Makes sense. It's nice. It's a good purchase. It's done really well. Second, if you, I think, right now, you want to say who's going to be making lithium. Well, Standard Lithium is, right? I believe LAC is. I'd stay away from ALB right now. I think it's high. I mean, it's a good stock. It's good stock. SQM is nice at $48. Again,
that's the Chilean-based mining. They do a lot of metals. Yep, I actually owned a lot of that, and just pre-pandemic and into part of the pandemic, but got out of it.
Well, I think it's not a sexy stock.
Yeah.
It's absolutely not sexy. They just make stuff, and there's that. I think as much as anything, Pilbara is nice right now. It's a cheap one. Some of these are dollar stocks, penny stocks, and so you're taking your chance with penny stocks. But I'm gonna say Standard Lithium was a penny stock. Joe Lowry the other day bragged, and yes, Joe, I listened to your podcast. But anyways, Joe Lowry was talking the other day, and he stated, hey, when he bought Standard Lithium at 30 cents, that's a flex. When he bought it at 30 cents last year as the pandemic began, that was the best 30 cents he ever spent. And he's right. Yeah, I'll take that. I think right now he's kind of going, it's turning out okay.
All right, Rob, your homework is we got to get this Lowry guy. We got to do a podcast, a follow-up. We got to do a roundtable. I think that'd be awesome.
I think you could probably, I'd like to get Robert Mintak on too.
Yeah.
The CEO for Standard Lithium. He's been a proponent of his own stuff, and his story's pretty damn good right now.
I love it.
And I like where he's at. I like where they're at. And I don't think they're there's lots of room at this table. Here's the good news. If you buy now, don't look for skyrocket. I mean, there is some that have skyrocketed, but look at the fact of you're building a portfolio for 2024 and 2025. And because at that juncture, you're going to be at a table that everybody wants a seat at.
Yeah.
So, because there's just the numbers don't add up, the math is not there, and if you see any South American upset and unrest, oh Lord, it is absolutely on, baby. Because that juncture, there's not enough lithium from anywhere. Australian, all the Western Australian lithium is a bidding war between the United States and China at that juncture. There's got to be these things coming online. Yeah, it's a great way to make money. I like it. I like it. Again, not a financial advisor.
Sure.
I'm going to give you my document of my notes and let anyone who wants it to have it.
I'd love to post it as a blog post. I think it's fantastic. You've put together, it's like 18 some pages, incredibly comprehensive. You've explained things so well. Again, I wonder if, some high school or college should be hiring you on the side right now.
Yeah, well, they don't pay well enough, and we all know that. We love teachers, but let's face it,
they make
There's a reason I'm not a teacher. That's a reason I'm an architect. So,
well, guys, Rob, I couldn't be more grateful for you generously giving myself and the audience your time. I came into this understanding, hey, there's obviously a need for this, but you've done such an exceptional job explaining things, and I couldn't be more excited to pounce on this whole sector tomorrow morning.
Right.
I'll be DMing you after this just to further pick your brain. But again, I think we got to do a follow up. We should do a roundtable. I'm gonna talk to Alex, and we're definitely going to strategize on how to put together that panel discussion together because,
if you want to follow me on Facebook, I'm the one who has the gumball machine, Tom Servo from Mystery Science Theater.
Yes.
You can see that he has a better face than I do. So the whole thing is that just look for me there. I try to post all the time on this space. It's actually interesting. I like the geology. I like the biology of it. I think it's really interesting, and I'm not good at pharma. So I'm absolutely scared of pharma, but I'm not scared of industrial metals. So,
well, I'm going to put your Twitter handle up here on the screen for everyone to see. And again, follow Rob, but tweet him your questions. The guy's
absolutely. I'll try to respond as
well informed. And this is how I met Rob. Right? You just start with a simple question that turns into an engagement, and then you got a whole dialogue. So
sat there with Karang when he was running a Spaces. We started talking about the sector of EVs and with lithium, and this is where I got really into it. I'm really excited about it, and I think as much as anything, I'm like you. I found I like the cars. I like all of them. I even like the Ford Mustang. I guess I look old enough to like the Ford Mustang. But the thing is that I don't know who to bet on. You don't know who to bet on.
No, but you know what?
Don't. I mean,
we can all safely bet on one thing: lithium.
Right. Look at it this way. Alex, who I have a lot of respect for, was completely with Nikola, right? And he was. It was right. The story was great. I thought it was great. But what winds up happening? You don't know. Yep. But on lithium, you do know. We can't escape this play.
Can't argue with it.
Can't argue with it. That's why I like this play. That's why I sit there and say it's absolutely the safest play out there.
Well, Rob, you said it all. You left us all on a great note. Couldn't be more grateful. I think we'll all be seeing you on Twitter here really soon.
Thank you, guys. See you later.
Appreciate it.